My main sponsors are our family. We have Bayline Fire Protection and Globe Technologies, of which are family businesses. They provide 99% of the funding for our race team. The other 1% comes through product sponsors, people that actually build the products that I use on the race car. Those companies there, they give us a break either on stuff or give us free parts and whatnot as to run their decal, and so that helps out a bunch as well. And the better your performance is, the more they want to give you either free or the better sponsors you can get. To go out and get a main sponsor, it takes a lot. It's hard to do. A lot of the sponsors nowadays are, they feel burnt either from NASCAR or something. You have to have a foot in to get in with any of them, and that's hard to do. It's hard to show them their value on their dollar. The racetracks that I like the most are the big half-mile racetracks. The racetrack that I like the most is Eldora Speedway, which is in Rossburg, Ohio. It's owned by Tony Stewart. It has a rich history, and it's one of the first places that I've ever raced and won in my modified. And then from there, when I got into my late model, I've gone there at almost every race there is. I've done fairly well there. I like Eldora. It's a driver's racetrack. If you're comfortable and have confidence in your car, you can do really well there. It's a big half mile. It's high banked. It's got a wall all the way around it and on the inside of it. It can be very exciting. The racetracks that I like the least are probably the smaller ones, where there's only one groove, mainly on the bottom, and it's more follow the leader. That's not my style of racing. I'd much rather be able to go 2 or 3 wide and actually race with some people. So the smaller racetracks are the ones that I am least favored to. So I tend to do better on the bigger racetracks because there's more time per lap for you to really settle down and to take everything in. As far as the bigger racetracks, I seem to do a little bit better. There's more bigger tracks that I've raced at, so I think I have a little bit more advantage on those. The smaller tracks, you have to have more patience and have to really get your marks and be, what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent. I don't know if that's one of my weak points. I believe it is. It's one of my weak points is to be consistent, lap after lap, to make the same laps. It's something that I'm working on. So the bigger tracks, they seem to be a little more forgiving. If you make a mistake here or there, you can make it up a little bit better. So the smaller tracks is where I struggle. Our sport has a vast majority of racers, and a lot of them have been in it for over 25 years, and they've had great careers. One of the guys that I raced against quite a bit, and I feel like he's my biggest competitor, is Scott Bloomquist. When I first started racing late models, I purchased a car from him, and he sort of took me under his wing and helped me out and helped me get to where I'm at today. He helped speed up my learning curve and everything in my driving ability and stuff like that. He helped me tell me the things that I was doing wrong and the things I was doing right. I'd say he's the biggest competitor to me because he wins the most out of anybody in our sport. He's like the Dale Earnhardt of dirt racing. So when you can go and you can beat Scott and race good and be competitive and beat him, you feel like you've accomplished something. You've beat the best there is. It's like going and playing one-on-one basketball with Michael Jordan and beating him. When you do that, you feel like you've accomplished something. Maybe he was having a bad day or you're just having an exceptionally good day, but you did accomplish something and you feel like you did something. Some of the other guys that I feel are really tough is Billy Moyer. He's been racing for quite a long time. He's got over 700 or something wins like that. He's a tough competitor, so you feel like when you beat him, you've also beaten a great. Another guy that I feel is tough is Shannon Babb. He's one that's always very consistent and is very tough. He gets up on the wheel and gets after it. So when you feel like you beat those guys, you've done something that day. I come up with Iron Motorsports when I first started racing my street stocks. I needed to have something that I could channel the money that I put out for the parts of my car and the different things like that. So I come up with Iron Motorsports because of Detroit Iron, and from being from Michigan, Detroit Iron, yeah, I thought it would work well as Iron Motorsports. We have a pretty snazzy logo which catches the eye, and so we started from there. And then as I grew into different things, and once I got into my late model, I followed the steps of one of the guys that's really good, Scott Bloomquist, in the souvenir sales that he has, and I took and broke off a piece of Iron Motorsports and tried to get something that the fans and the kids could enjoy, and that's where I have the spider on my car. It's just another trademark that the kids and the fans can look towards me and know that I'm the car that has a spider on it, and it gets them excited, something to cheer for. You know, it's just a character for them to get into. So that's where we have the spider, and it just helps us sell some souvenirs and whatnot. So far, my personal goals, we've won, I can't put a number on exactly how many races I've won. I know it's probably in the 50s throughout my career, if not more. Usually we win about 10 to 12 a year. Last year we won 9 out of 62 events. My goals are, you know, I would like to go to NASCAR maybe, just for the aspect of the money of it, to make a better living. But as far as the politics and things that go along with NASCAR, I'm really not into. In dirt late model racing, you can make a lot of money if you're good and you have luck go against your side and different things. We race anywhere from $2,000 an evening to up to $100,000 for a purse. So that's for the win. So there's a lot of money to be made in dirt late model racing, and I'm pretty content where I'm at right now. I have good fans, loyal fans. It's exciting. I race against a bunch of good guys and gals, and it's exciting. And I definitely feel like my goals is just to be the best where I'm at right now. I have quite a little ways to go, but I just want to be the best dirt late model driver out there, and to be able to go out there and win 20 times a year, or maybe it's not even the amount of wins I get. It's just maybe it's the money amount that I make, to where I'm ahead of the sport. You know what I mean? I can make a good living and go from there. As far as whether we make money every year or we're still behind, we are behind a little bit. Every year it seems to be getting better. We're getting better as a driver. We're getting better equipment and just getting more seat time and more laps and more experience. And every year we get a little bit better. So we're gaining on it, definitely. We're real close to the point where we're starting to make some money, but we'll have a long road to go after that. Once we start making money, we'll have to, you know, keep up the stats for a while to get ahead. I'm married. I've been married for 2 years, January 15th. It works out real well so far, with her being a teacher and having the summer off where she can go racing with us. There is a time in the spring and in the fall when she can't go racing, which is tough sometimes. You know, usually if we're just gone for the weekend, that's not a big deal. She told me just the other day that last year we stayed 4 weekends at home, which is probably pretty rare compared to a lot of people, to be gone 48 weekends out of the year doing something. So for us, it's good. She likes racing. She'd never been to racing before. She had met me, but her family's been in racing. Her cousin, Shane Yoder, is one of the guys that I used to race against. He's coming out of retirement to go back racing again, so that'll be good. It's been tough, though. I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, your life and your job and racing usually is number one, and it's hard to have a balance of 1 and 2 and 3, and to try and keep that balance of having a wife and making sure that their needs are being satisfied, as well as the needs of your job being satisfied. So that's a trying and tough thing to accomplish, and I'm still learning on how to balance everything. It's to keep a balance. She's studying to get her master's, which is going to be great. She plans on taking next year off with us and finishing her master's, which should make it a lot easier on us. She'll be able to go racing with us almost every weekend, and I think that'll be better for our relationship as well. So when she's at the racetrack, I'm a different person. She makes me feel calm, and I don't know, she has a way of sort of the calming before the storm. And she just keeps me motivated and focused and at the task at hand, and gives me luck, and she's a great motivator. I feel like I do a lot better when she's there, and I don't know if it's because I know she's in the stands cheering for me, or if it's just the mental state that she puts me in before I go out and race, but she's definitely a huge factor in my racing. Our season starts usually in March. There is a time that you can go to Florida and race during February for 2 weeks. For the last couple of years, we have chose not to. It's really tough to compete down there. There's limited spots to make the races, and the money isn't as good. So it's not a very profitable experience to go to Florida. So we've kept that out of our program. We race about 62 to 65 races a year. But they'll start in mid-March, and we'll go all the way through October, middle of October, and that's every weekend. For a time frame in the middle of June and July, we race for a series which is the Summer Nationals. We'll race for 29 nights straight out of 30 days. Every night is a different city in a different state, usually a different racetrack. So you get a lot of experience on different racetracks and different types of racing. And the mistakes you make on night 2, you don't have to wait a whole week to think about what those mistakes are. On night 3, they're still fresh in your head why you didn't win that race or whatever. So that's a huge learning experience for us. We've done that for probably 5 years now, and we've done really well with it. The last year was our best. We finished second in the points to it, which is huge for us. We won 2 races and had some really good finishes. The peaks of our season come in June for me and September. There's 2 races. One, they're both at Eldora Speedway. The first one in June, which is the second weekend of June, is called the Dream, and that race pays $100,000 to win. So gearing up to go to Eldora for the Dream, because if you win that race and you win that $100,000, that's a life-changing experience there. First of all, that you beat the best of the best. Not only that, but you beat them for $100,000. That race usually draws about 180 cars from all over the states. It's a pretty tense situation going up to Eldora, but that's the racetrack that I feel the most comfortable with, and I feel at ease at that racetrack. So I look forward to it. That's one of my favorite races. The next race is also at Eldora, and it's called the World, which is in September. And that's more of a prestigious race. It's like the Daytona 500 or our Super Bowl. It usually draws about 230 cars, and it's I don't know how to explain it. It's the Super Bowl. It's what everybody goes after. If you win the World 100, you have put your name in a spot of history that'll never be forgotten. The World 100 is an amazing race. This last year we finished 3rd in it, and we had the chance to win. We just didn't have luck go our way, and had a few mistakes and things that we can work with and learn from and build from. So that's those are the 2 races that I look forward to every year. I feel like those are the most important races, and those are the races that are going to make or break your career and can help open some doors if if you do good in those. It'll help open the doors for you to move into different avenues or to gain more sponsors or fans. At the Dream and at the World, they have a certain format. Everybody draws 2 numbers out of a can. The numbers are all the way up to like 280 or something to that effect. And everybody gets a number, and those numbers are for your qualifying rounds. So everybody goes out and they qualify, depending on which number you are. If you're number 1, you're the first to qualify. So everybody goes out and qualifies 1 lap, and after every competitor is qualified, then they'll go back and you run your second number, and you qualify again. And they'll take the top 120 race cars in qualifying and take those to 6 different heat races. 6 heat races of 20 cars. So each heat race is essentially like a feature. You get 120 of the best guys, and everyone's going to have 5 or 6 to 10 very good race cars that can win the World 100 or the Dream at any point. And then cars from 121 on, they run non-qualifying races. They're not usually eligible to make the show. So once you get into the 120 and you're assigned your heat race, then positions 1 through 3 are transferred to the A feature. Positions 4 through 6 go to the B feature, which is a consolation race. And then cars 7 through 9 go to a C feature, which is another chance. So those cars, accordingly, the C features run first, and the top 4 cars from the C feature will get transferred to the rear of the B, and then the top 6 cars from the B will be on the tail of the A. And the A is 100 laps, and the winner takes all at the end. Yes, it's more prestigious. Every year it goes up by another 1,000. Last year I think it was 39,000 to win, so this year it'll be 40,000 to win. The World 100 is more prestigious than the Dream or any other race because it was the first high-paying race for dirt late model races. 39 years ago, I think it was. I'm not sure if it's 39, but when Earl Boltis, the owner of Eldora Speedway at the time, decided he was going to make a high-paying late model race, it was the World 100. So from that, it is the best. It's not the most paying, high-paying race, but it's the most prestigious because it was the first. And the Dream was built after that, and it was a race that paid $100,000 to the winner. It was more of a money aspect versus the prestige. The week before a race usually starts on Monday. You've come home from the weekend prior to a racing. Monday starts out where we unload the race cars, and they're dirty from the weekend to racing. Well, the way our week goes in racing is we usually come back on Sunday night. We get home and show up to work on Monday, and we usually unload the cars, and they're dirty from the weekend of racing, and we bring them in and take off all the parts that we can't wash, and then we wheel them out back and set them up on stands, and we completely wash them. And while somebody's washing the car, we're taking all the tires out of the trailer and cleaning our trailer and cleaning the truck and cleaning all those aspects up and getting them ready. And once everything's washed, we bring it back in and put it up on the jack stands, and we do all the maintenance and fixing of the body panels and whatnot like that if we have any damage from the weekend. And then we do some maintenance on the motor. We count the number of laps on our motor and the oil and stuff like that, and change the oil and do maintenance on the rear end, maintenance on the car. And then by probably Wednesday actually, we're getting ready to put the setup on it for the next racetrack that we're going to, and we'll put the new springs and shocks depending on where we're going, new setup on the car, and then we'll set it on scales to measure each wheel weight, get the car where it's ready to go for the next racetrack. We have the same starting spot we usually start at. Depending on which racetrack, whether it's a half mile or a quarter, we'll have 2 different starting points. And we'll set the car on the scales, make sure everything's where it needs to be. The ride heights are all right. And once we get it scaled, we'll get everything loaded up, get our tires around that we're going to be using for the next week, dismount the old tires, put the new tires on, get that ready, get everything loaded up in the trailer, get all our supplies loaded up in the trailer, whether it was a carb clean that we used or brake fluid, oil, stuff like that. We'll restock the trailer. Then we'll restock our cooler and usually pull out Thursday night or Friday morning, depending on where we're going racing.